Hi, good afternoon. My name is Daniel Vasquez, and today I'm going to be doing my presentation on David Goggins and the cultivation theory. Sorry about that. I'll be doing my best to put a little bit more emotion into the way I speak. I am a bit monotone, but yeah, let's get started. Anyway, if you aren't familiar with the book, Can't Hurt Me is the story of a man who went from being overweight, depressed, and working a dead end job to becoming a Navy SEAL, an endurance athlete, and also a huge public speaker right now. But the core message in his book, although I did put pictures of him running, sorry, I had a brain fart. It's about things like being more disciplined and taking extreme ownership over the things going on in your life. It's about facing your own insecurities and then callousing your mind against pain. Before I found out about this media, my default setting was comfort. When I felt anxious or stressed, I would retreat, I'd skip the gym, I'd eat poorly, and I'd spiral into a negative mindset. But this audiobook had a really, really big and violent effect on my routine. It forced me to stop looking for validation and start looking at the mountaintops and looking for some more friction. Because of this book, I wake up early and I run when I really don't want to. I make sure I hit the gym religiously now, of course. As you can see, I ran a marathon on the right. I'm holding my marathon medal right there. I also think I built a pretty decent physique so far. For 20, it's not too bad. Um, I bought one of my dream cars, sorta. Um, it's a Mustang for sure, but I'm like, really, 2025, we'll get there. And of course, I got over my big hurdle of speaking to women. I got a girlfriend and everything. Of course, that was a pretty big mental hurdle for me, as I did grow up with a lot of anxiety. Anyway, let's get into the nitty gritty. So, the cultivation theory in one quote is right here on the right. To explain how a simple audiobook can actually alter my personality, we have to look at cultivation theory, of course. Dr. George Gerbner made the cultivation theory in the 1970s. In the 1998 paper Cultivation Analysis, which I quoted on the right, Gerbner argues that those who spend more time living in the world of media and watching lots of television are more likely to perceive the world in ways that reflect media's most common messages, and they're usually not good ones. Usually, this would mean pretty negative things like the mean world syndrome on the right, or pictured on the left with the kid holding an air gun. But I think that you can apply this theory in the other direction, and you can make something that I want to call positive cultivation, if that's not already a term. Anyway, when I listen to Can't Hurt Me, or whenever I read it or take time out of my day to read it, by definition, I'm cultivating a new reality. In the world that David Goggins creates, pain isn't really something that's going to be avoided, but it's more so a tool for growth. In his world, being tired is just a suggestion. By exposing myself to this message repeatedly, I've started to kind of mainstream, kind of indent these ideas into my head. Whenever I'm running or whenever I'm lifting and I don't want to quit, I don't hear my own doubt anymore. I hear the narrative that David Goggins has kind of implanted in my head, and I hear the audio and I just remember the words that he's put on paper. I feel like I've effectively, almost in a way, brainwashed myself into being disciplined. Anyway, some closing notes are I put the people from Wally right here, but I want to start off by saying that media is nutrition. If you consume garbage, you're going to feel like garbage. And if you consume good media, you're going to feel a lot better. Whatever good is subjective, whatever good media is to you, you're going to feel great. If we go through the lens of cultivation theory, Can't Hurt Me doesn't just entertain me. It's literally shifted my baseline for what I personally think is possible. And it's taught me that my mind, as corny as it sounds, is the ultimate weapon, but it's only going to be that way if you load it with the correct ammunition. Anyway, this is the end of my presentation. I've left my sources right here. I made sure that I got at least two sources put right here in front of you, just so that I don't get my grade dropped. Made sure I feel like I've paid attention to everything that I need from this presentation. But yeah, if you have any further questions, I left my email there as well. It has been a pleasure to be in this class. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to watch this. Bye bye.